Hello guys, welcome back to yet another video. Now today I am here with Mark. Please say hello.
Hey YouTubers, hey Nathan, always good to be on here, man. Thank you. Let's talk about Dragon Ball.
Okay, what we do best.
Yes.
But yeah, if you have not subscribed to Real, please do so. He literally has the best theories on YouTube about Dragon Ball. I'm being serious. If you've not, ever seen this guy's work, please do so. Links in the description. First link in the description. You can just go ahead and subscribe. But today we're bringing a new segment on the channel, and it's called How to Fix Dragon Ball. Now, this is a series derived from How to Fix Resurrection F. That's sort of a solo video I did. If you haven't checked that out, please give it a watch. But anyway, so pretty much I'm going to bring guests on, and they're going to talk about things they want to fix in Dragon Ball, whether that be like an arc or a movie. Now, Mark, what are you going to fix today?
Well, before we get into this, I just wanted to say this is an idea that I've been kicking around in my head for a long time, and this is a good idea for just kind of to bridge the gap, kind of do a discussion, maybe even get some ideas not only from you but anybody who comments on this who can tell me one way or the other whether this is a good idea or not. But just so I can throw it out there, I want to fix the legendary Super Saiyan. And I don't care, we're going to keep it in a movie. We're not canonizing anything like that, but I'm going to keep it in a movie at this point. I feel personally, the Broly movies were, although they're just kind of hogwash to a lot of the more hardcore fans, and a lot of the other fans really like him, there's just such a huge divide. But I feel like there was so much potential with that with elements of that story that they kind of washed over just to have a really epic fight scene where just multiple Super Saiyans were fighting each other at the same time, that we didn't necessarily get something that we really could have. And it's not like Dragon Ball has as much of a deep, in-depth psychological, philosophical story that I've been thinking is something that I would really want to see from a Broly movie. But at the same time, it's something that I've always really wanted to see, and I've always just kind of want to get this idea out there. So just having this general discussion is something that is I'm excited to do, man.
Yeah, I completely agree. Now, Mark, what is your overall pitch for the rewrite of Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan? How would you fix it, man?
How much time do you have? Okay, guys. So here's what I'm thinking. All right, we have to kind of go back to the very beginning of the movie, and we have to change some very fundamental points about the Broly movie. And nobody in the comment section below say that I'm wrong or anything. It's all just outside of the box thinking, and it's your point versus my point. I mean, no one has a bad idea, but this is my pitch. All right, so instead of placing it basically where they placed it, where it's somewhat kind of conceivably within some region of the time before the Cell games, that's not the best place to put this, and there's a reason for that. So I feel like you need to place it around the same time that movie 9 was placed with BoJack Unbound, and the reason for that is because after, at least in the timeline wise, at least canonized wise, you can kind of sit there and be like, okay, well, this can be kind of considered canon, or it can't, and you can kind of play with it one way or the other, the same way that BoJack Unbound was. But basically you have Broly. Oh, no, I'm sorry. But basically you have in that 7-year time skip, maybe a couple months after Cell or something, and you have Goku's dead, Trunks is gone, and so Trunks is gone, and maybe at this point it's Trunks's second, third birthday. I can't remember exactly how old he is, but everyone's at the park celebrating and everything, and you bring it in basically in a crowded city, and everyone's in a hustle and bustle, and everyone is there's no fear in the air. Cell's been gone for months, all this stuff, everyone's getting back to their daily lives, and you see Chi-Chi basically dragging Gohan through the crowd, just completely dragging him. He doesn't want to go. She has to every step of the way is just an argument, and you're oh my god, they're gonna go, she's bringing him to a private school interview and everything, and instead of her coaching Goku about what to say in this interview, it's Gohan, because Gohan's the one who has to get into this private school, or he's not going to be able to actually do anything about his life. And so from there, like Gohan like looks up in the sky, all twinkly eye, I'm missing the party type of look in his face, and then we cut to the party. Everyone's kind of having a good time, and the only difference in this is like everyone's still chilling in the same way they are, but the only difference is Future Trunks isn't there and everything, and everyone's celebrating. Krillin doing karaoke and everything. So suddenly, ship comes down, lands. Hundreds of soldiers like pile out, kneel towards Vegeta, and they're just like, "Oh, sire!" And then Paragus steps down. And before I go on with this, I just wanted to say that Paragus is a person who is like completely fucking wasted. I'm sorry for the language. He is completely wasted in the entirety of the movies because, and I have to admit, he's wasted because immediately in the movie they're sitting there going like, "Oh, like sire, and we made Planet Vegeta for you, and we've been looking for you everywhere," and blah blah blah. And in the back of his mind this whole time he's sitting there going like, "I hate you, your father, and I have such a huge grudge." That's the stupidest idea I ever seen. Because okay, if there's one is like there's very few Saiyans left. It's completely plausible that there are multiple Saiyans, and I'm getting there. I know you got yourself into something, Nathan. This is going to be a long video. All right, so I feel like so I'm getting there, but he's sitting there going like, "Oh, your sire, we finally found you," and something is like, "We finally found you," because off in the ether, like we've been searching. There were rumors of you having survived and like working for Lord Frieza, but then Lord Frieza died and blah blah blah, and like we thought like from a great Saiyan power, it's just like rumors. So we thought, oh my god, it had to be Vegeta, and then like out of nowhere, we like our sensors or like scouters or anything picked up this immense power struggle from Earth, and he thinks it's Vegeta, but obviously it was Gohan versus Cell, right? And because it was coming and becoming like such a big thing, they actually found Vegeta. So they go and is like, "I am just so happy. I've spent decades. I have spent every waking moment since Planet Vegeta actually blew up to gather the remaining Saiyans and restart Planet Vegeta. And now we've found our king. We found our rightful leader to the entire society." And I was like, "Please allow me." He's like, "Please allow me and your subjects," because he doesn't necessarily understand like the issue of the area. To please allow me to show you our new Planet Vegeta, our new homeworld, your rightful place as the new king of this new Planet Vegeta. And so Vegeta, kind of intrigued and everything. You got to remember where Vegeta is at this moment in the series, because after the Cell games, he was so distraught by Gohan actually surpassing him and basically Goku being like one thing or another and completely getting into him, like besting him in every way. Even his son bested him. He gave up on fighting, and we never really understood or saw that progression of him where he got an idea in his head where he was like, oh Kakarot, like I'm never gonna fight again, to the Buu Saga where he's like, I'm totally down to fight. Like we never saw that progression. So it also works to help solidify that progression in him this entire movie. And I'm getting there. I know I'm rambling. Okay, so you could pop in any moment.
Oh, bro, it's all you. I'm loving this so far, man.
So he's like, okay. And like I said, Paragus, completely sincere. There is no ill will. There's nothing in his heart. No malignant heart for him. He has been looking for his king. He's a loyal servant. He was an elite Saiyan, worked very closely under King Vegeta. And so they get into the ship. And before they get into the ship, like Bulma comes up and she's holding, baby Trunks, and she's like, "Oh, Vegeta, you really shouldn't do this. Like, are you sure about this?" And he completely ignores her. He walks away because, like what I was saying earlier, is like Vegeta, he's in a really weird place. Like he is kind of torn between he's in this really weird place where he's torn between basically his birthright and actually becoming a human being to some degree or another, and giving up fighting and stuff. So this is like a perfect area for us to introduce Vegeta and for him to be basically the antagonist or the protagonist of this entire movie. Because one thing is, he's found, Paragus offers like this entity for him to actually become like, so like it's a physical embodiment of the bridge that he has to kind of pass before the end of like his inner turmoil, where he thinks that he can have it both ways at this point. He thinks that he can, still be the royalty that he's always kind of known himself to be, and also kind of the fatherly family man that he's been kind of building up to this entire series. So they get into the ship. Paragus doesn't necessarily notice it because Vegeta kind of brushes Bulma off. Paragus brushes Bulma off, and everyone follows. Not just like Roshi and Oolong and everything. Everyone follows. Tin Shin Han, Yamcha, Chaozu, Roshi, everyone. And just this little snippet, like when they're all leaving, Krillin's like, "Oh, but I was singing," and then. Oh, but I was singing, and then he looks over, and like 18's like chilling in the shadows, just like looking at him, and she like blushes and looks away, and Krillin blushes, and then like Roshi like picks up a rock and throws it at his head, like he does in Dragon Ball, and he's like, "Oh fuck, okay, well I'll go." So they all get into the ship, and then they go up, and then we cut back to Gohan and Chi-Chi, and Chi-Chi is like, Gohan like looks up, and he sees Paragus' ship, like the twinkle in the sky, like fly up, and then like he kind of gets up, he notices something's wrong, and he looks at the window, and Chi-Chi's like sitting there in the waiting room, and she just like gives a very authoritative pat on the chair, and that like signifies that Gohan is done. He's not going to be a single help in this entire movie. So when we cut back to Vegeta, basically they're in the ship, and basically Paragus is explaining like everything that he's found. It's like he's saying like, "Look, these Saiyans that I found, they were low-level warriors who were sent out amongst the stars to like conquer these planets, and no one went back for them for decades. It took me so long to find them. They are not well adjusted, but it's like they're not well adjusted, but they're Saiyans, and we protect our own, and they is like with you and your leadership and with your strength, we will be able to, rebring back the Saiyan race with, just as much as we can." And so, it's at this point, first, finally, he realizes that Vegeta doesn't have a tail anymore. And he's like, no, but he realizes, he's like, "What's going on?" He looks at Vegeta. He's like, what happened to your tail, sire? He's like, it's a source. Is like, Vegeta's like, it's a source of weakness. Like we get too complacent with who we are and we don't evolve. And so he brushes that off, but he's also a little bit torn by it, because obviously back when Dragon Ball started, he was like, "Oh, Raditz," when he read it, he realized that Goku didn't have his tail. And when Vegeta realized that, he's like, "Oh, you've lost all of your power. You've lost the embodiment of your power." Obviously, they're wrong, but they have this idea about what their tails mean. And so Paragus is a little off by this. He's an old guy. He's an old way, not really looking to conform to anything, one thing. So they get to the planet, and Paragus brings them through, and it's not a desolated planet. There is a large city with like a large mansion kind of castle in that city that they go to, and he brings Vegeta there, and he's like, tomorrow your parade will start, your festival will start, and we'll celebrate the rebirth of the Saiyan race amongst like our fearless leader, our most powerful leader, the most powerful person in the universe, for the most powerful race in the universe." And so but Vegeta's just like, completely unimpressed with it, and he's just like walking, just watching, just being very stoic, the same way he always is. And Bulma gets up with there, and obviously like Krillin and Bulma with Trunks at this point, she gets up there, and she's had it. Like Trunks is upset and everything, and she's just like, "Vegeta, this is just blah blah blah," and he's like, take you and your boy and blah blah blah, because Vegeta's kind of like full of himself right now. He's telling her to get lost. He doesn't want to deal with her shit right now, and like, and again at this point, like Paragus notices, he's like, who is this freaking woman just like trying to talk to this man, like this great leader, this king of mine? And it's like, what gives her the right, her and this ridiculous child? And so this ridiculous child, and so with purple hair, like, yeah, so like who, like this ridiculous child. So he leaves, and he's like, come with me, Vegeta. I want to show you the survivors of our great race. I want them to see their leader. And so, in the meantime, as all this is going down and Vegeta just kind of disappears with Paragus, like, we get a nice little Dragon Ball moment where Krillin, Yamcha, Ten Shinhan, and Bulma, everyone else, they start looking around the planet. They start looking around. They go on an adventure. They go to see like what's going on and everything. And there's just like there's prisoners. There's not prisoners. There's not like no mine workers. This isn't like some planet that they've enslaved and brought over. They're very humanoid people, and they're just all kind of living impoverished. They're not really like, they're not happy, but they're not enslaved either. And they're sitting around going like, oh, the Saiyans, they have like this weird concept of the Saiyans where like they came in and they made it better, but they also made it worse. And they're very apprehensive about the Saiyans, and they're very apprehensive about one Saiyan in particular because, no, I'm sorry. They're not apprehensive. They're very apprehensive about the Saiyans to a degree, but they're very respectful of one Saiyan in particular who treats them with kindness and treats them with respect, and whatever, he's like the savior of them. All the other ones are crazy, and they don't want to like, they fear even ever running into them besides this one particular Saiyan. And so basically this like gets everyone's attention. It's like, what's going on here? And they spend more time with the people, and we get like that adventure, that kind of world building through those characters. And so Vegeta meets all these Saiyans, and let's just say like there's like, I don't know, 6 of them, like 5 guys and 1 girl, because you need like a woman. And so you need like a woman, and these guys are like just all like they're messed up. They're from planets that they destroyed when they were young, when they were babies, and they destroyed these planets, and no one came back to look for them because planet Vegeta was gone and they were just forgotten about. So they've been living in desolate loneliness their entire lives. They're completely so I know I'm going way too in depth. So Vegeta's like, these he goes to Paragus. He's like, these people are dangerous. Like, like in terms of like, he's not fearful of them, but he knows that like these are not Saiyans. Like they are not, and they're not Saiyans. And he's like, you know what? Take off their tails. And he's like, why? He's like, because when he's like, why? We're Saiyans. This is our pride. This is everything. He goes, because when the moon comes up, they're going to go crazy. And while we can stop them, they're going to destroy our new home. And Paragus is, Paragus gets mad about this, but Paragus gets mad about this, and he orders it to be done anyway. And he orders it to be done anyway in the morning or something. And, they're not happy about it. They're not happy about it. They have like their apprehension about everything that's going on. And so basically I'm running out of ideas about what I already thought about. So I'm just going to like basically run through basically what I think of is going to happen at this point. So, so it turns out seriously, less like, okay. So it turns out that Paragus's son is Broly again. But so Paragus has picked this planet to not necessarily enslave the people on there and make them do work. And he doesn't want to kill Vegeta. There's no comet coming to destroy the planet. It's a planet much like Planet Vegeta too, where the moon doesn't come out very regularly. So they know they're safe and they know they can control themselves. And he goes in and he picks this particular planet because the women and the people on here are somewhat humanoid, the same way that Saiyans are, or humans are. And he picked it because the only way they're going to make another planet Vegeta is if they repopulate the Saiyan race. So he picked a planet where there was compatibility between these women and the Saiyans that he has, men and women. And so he's been waiting for that. He's been attempting with these savages, and they've been taking the women from all of these little tribes or these little cities, and trying to restart the population, as it were. And it fails, because none of these women are strong enough to actually be bred by Saiyans, or none of these men can impregnate. Like, they're just completely inadequate in order to actually birth Saiyans. And so he is completely distraught by this. He doesn't know exactly how they're going to continue the Saiyan race if they can't get any lineages up. But the linchpin of all of this is that Broly is the kindest Saiyan among them, because he is Paragus' son, because he was raised right by Paragus, and he has a kind heart in him, the same way that Goku does. He's not crazy, but they've been on this planet for so incredibly long that he has actually found himself a mate. And this woman and him are deeply in love. He has a great deal of respect for the people of this planet. He doesn't want to see them harmed. He doesn't want to see them in pain. But his father has a completely different wish. Like, his father doesn't care about any of these people. He just cares about making sure the Saiyan lineage, survives. And so the disconnect happens when basically Broly's wife is pregnant, and she's made it further along than anyone else has in this entire operation, this entire situation that they've been trying to do for the last however long. And she's the only one who's made it this far. She knows, in the third trimester, very, very close to actually giving birth. It's going to be a successful pregnancy. And by the time but as she is giving birth, the same way, and because Paragus is so uncharismatic about the women in this society, he only cares about the successful breeding process, that his kind of carelessness of this actually leads to her death. But the baby is born and healthy, and this excites him. But as we kind of go on, Paragus, because he's had these moments where he's like, who is this woman? Who is this baby? Why are they talking to my king like this whole time? This whole who are these people? He realizes, and because Vegeta is sitting there, that it's Earth. Earth possesses women that can breed Saiyan children, half Saiyan children, very strong half Saiyan children. Stronger than anything that Paragus has ever known before, something that he's been wanting to achieve these decades of his searching and everything else. And he realizes at this moment, this planet is useless. We need to go to Earth. Earth is where we go. And it is actually a nice kind of throwback to the beginning of Dragon Ball Z after they beat Raditz, because Nappa is sitting there going, we should go there and impregnate a bunch of women and everything. And he's like, no, that's stupid. You wouldn't want a bunch of Super Saiyans that could kill you. But Paragus doesn't think this way. He's not as smart as Vegeta, and he's sitting there going, my lord, my king, allow the Saiyans to repopulate on Earth. And then imagine what Vegeta has to think about at this. He's torn. Like I said before, he would be torn against having the ability to rekindle and achieve everything that he's ever wanted, and just completely rekindle everything that he's ever wanted. Or he has to pick Earth, he has to pick Bulma, he has to pick Trunks. He's that's the thing that he's just completely torn on. So that's his dilemma. That's not the legendary Super Saiyan or something, but that's the thing making him it hard for him to react. And as all of this is going on, Broly learns that his wife is completely dead. He doesn't know that his son is alive, because Paragus has kept this from him. And when he learns of this, when Broly learns of this, he freaks out. He completely, just utterly freaks out, and he turns Super Saiyan. He turns Super Saiyan, and then he turns Super Saiyan, and all this, like, all the tensions building up in the same way that they have, like, all these crazy Saiyans that Paragus has gathered, all 5 or something of them have, like, they start breaking out, especially around the time when Vegeta's like, no, you can't have Earth, like, this has gone too far, you're, whatever, this has gone too far, you can't have Earth. And so all the, like, Paragus is like, fine, we'll take it. And so he sicks all the Saiyans on them, and then we get some really cool fights with Piccolo, Tenshinhan, Yamcha, Krillin, Master Roshi, like, anyone who can fight like a low-level Saiyan, right? So it's like a Saiyan fight, but everyone's somewhat equal at this point, so you get some really awesome fights. So Broly, in all of this, like, Broly's not participating in this fight, but he learns that his wife is dead, and he doesn't learn that his son is still alive, and he turns Super Saiyan. But at this moment, the full moon comes out. It's nighttime, the infrequent full moon comes out, and Broly still has his tail.
Yeah.
Broly still has his tail, so he becomes an Ozaru who has a 10 times multiplier of a 50 times multiplier, which Vegeta cannot beat. So they're fighting. Everything seems lost. Everything seems lost. Everyone's going to die in this planet because this rampaging monster of a legendary Super Saiyan is kicking everybody's ass. All the other Saiyans are dead. Paragus gets into a space pod with Broly's child, swears revenge, leaves, completely gets away, setting up the sequel, and Bulma, or everyone, gathers into the spaceship they came from, leaves, and basically his power, like Broly's power, so enraging, so great, blows up the planet. And that's the end of Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, with the second coming could easily being getting in there, because you can have Broly's child come 7 years later with an older Paragus who wants revenge, who's been teaching Broly's half-breed son, which Broly was already strong enough to go Super Saiyan. Half-breed son, strong enough to sit there and fight Goten and Trunks.
Whoa, that was quite the how to fix episode.
That was
wow, that was good. I'm quite impressed. I liked the little touches, even stuff that you may not know, like they actually had festivals on Planet Vegeta in the Dragon Ball Minus special, when actually, like, Saiyans came back from, like, their missions. They had a little festival, so I really liked that touch. So that was from Dragon Ball Minus. I liked that. I don't know whether that was intentional or not, but I liked it. Also, in the English dub, what do you think Krillin would be singing to on karaoke?
Send them Dragon Balls my way. Let me give you the dende. Yeah, I don't know.
that would be pretty meta if he's talking about, like, himself.
Yeah, I know. I went a little overboard, and it's not like my idea isn't set in stone yet. But that's if I were to make, like, my own pitch for a Broly movie, that's what I would do. I think it would need to be a Vegeta movie. There's no reason why, other than just to have Goku sit in and save the day. There's no reason why the original film isn't just a Vegeta film.
Yeah, I completely get that. And also that sets up the BoJack and Bound movie, because as you said, Gohan's not in your fixing of Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, and then after Broly it's BoJack, so then it's a Vegeta movie, and then it's a Gohan movie. I think that's set up rather cleverly. And also I like how Broly the Legendary Super Saiyan, the title, it's like, it kind of makes sense because he's, like, sort of a Super Saiyan and an Ozaru, which was, like, I guess supposed to be the Legendary Super Saiyan.
Yeah. What Vegeta wanted.
Yeah.
Wanted it to be, or was aware of it as such. So yeah.
No, I really, really enjoy that. I also like how Broly's not the center point, but he is the main catalyst for the end of the movie, which I really liked. Now I want to throw you like a few questions before we get out of here. So does Broly's partner die from Paragus or just from pregnancy?
I feel like she would die from it would be like a Star Wars thing. I feel like she would just be too weak to to give birth to that and live.
Okay.
That's what's like my idea is like these women are like female women, but they're physically more frail.
Mm-hmm.
So they cannot survive.
I agree. The second question is, did you kind of get inspired by like Battle of Gods? Because like in your rewrite, there's not a whole lot of action. It's more focused on story and like just like character like development. Or no, not even development. Just like characters interacting and climbing off of each other. Was that your intention from the start, or did what was your thought process in that?
I wish Dragon Ball would be a little bit more character centric. I feel like there's a lot of really awesome characters. Personally, it pretty much arose from the fact that, like I said in the pitch, like Paragus is, in my opinion, the coolest movie character that was completely wasted and really rather stupid in the final part of it. But there would be a way like this, but also other ways where you can make him an interesting antagonist that would show up. Like, to have him survive and come back with a kid is something that I feel like would be absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I think it would be absolutely awesome. And it's kind of like an interesting throwback to how Raditz, was keeping Gohan, but instead of, Gohan getting taken back by Goku, like, what if Gohan and Raditz just, trained for like 10 years, So I like how that's a good alternative for that. But I think we're gonna get out of here. If you enjoyed Mark's pitch, or if you just enjoyed our banter in general, please go hit the like button and please subscribe to the channel. Also subscribe to Mark for the best Dragon Ball theories in this community. I'm being serious when I say that, bro. Like, wow, some of the stuff he makes.
They're mostly fan fiction. I do well with storytelling for the most part, but in terms of actually predicting,
yeah,
no.
Not always on the ball, but that's alright. But yeah, guys, that's been it. Hope you enjoyed. See you later.